Welcome to the end of day review for Tuesday, the 5th of December 2023. Starting off with the economic calendar, as you can see, there was only a red folder news events for the New York session. The results of these news events were somewhat mixed and thus didn't really tell us what buys to have for the New York session. In terms of these news events, they were not news events that prevent us from trading, but once they release, we evaluate the impact on any open trades, and if we're taking new trades, then we'll ensure that the trade logic aligns with the news release. In terms of doing the EOD today, I'll be marking it up and explaining as I go what happened through the day. So starting off with a 4-hour, you can see that market structure is confirmed bullish. This has been the case for the last couple of weeks. And then in terms of order flow, what we had is a change of character OB that had failed with a body break right here, and this then validated the pullback phase. Which then created this pullback phase primary leg. This pullback phase OB just gives us an area to look for 15-minute and 5-minute order flow shifts to build that secondary leg to then target something lower. And then in addition to that, we then had this pro trend 4HOB, which then created, on the 15-minute, you'll see that we then created a primary leg based on this pro trend OB. We hadn't yet had any change of character for HOB body break to then actually create a primary leg on the 4-hour. However, the pro trend for HOB gives us sufficient backing to then create the 5, 15 or 30-minute primary leg, which I'll show you right now. So in terms of coming into today, we were right around here, and because the pullback leg is validated and we're reacting from a pro trend OB, we can both long and short for the day. However, we have to make sense of longs and shorts in the order flow on the time frames that we're trading from. I then jump into the 5-minute, or actually rather the 15-minute. So as I was explaining, we've got this primary leg that was created here, and then maybe I should just mark this primary leg pro trend. And what you can see is yesterday we reacted to this pullback phase OB, and you can see that supply essentially took control. So you've got your change of character right here, and then supply. Right around there. I know yesterday I was saying that this candle broke that, but if we look on the 30-minute, what you'll see is this is just a weak break, and in addition to this is a range because this didn't make a lower low. So that's something to consider, but overall we can say that supply is in control. What this essentially does is, because this is the pullback phase primary leg, the reaction to this pullback phase for HOB creates the M15 secondary leg right here. For the pullback phase. However, what then happened as we came back into the pro trend leg, you can see that we had a change of character right here on the 15-minute, and then we were reacting to this demand. However, at the time, demand hadn't yet taken control. In terms of finding areas to short from, we'd be looking in this area right around here, and I guess you could extend this OB if you use a 30-minute validation that supplies in control. However, on the 30-minute, you'll see we have that OB, but we also have the jock right here, and by the time we come into this OB to actually short, demand would have taken control on the 30-minute and the 15-minute, so that idea is invalidated. In addition, when demand takes control, the entire secondary leg is invalidated until we reset the secondary leg right here. I'll mark that up. So this would be your secondary leg reset point right there, in order to resume looking for supply taking control, because when demand takes control, we can't rely on any of these OBs because they are secondary leg based. Our next option is then to look for the pullback phase primary leg extension point, which would be at this point here, which I'll mark out right here. I'll put this in the center because it serves two purposes. So pullback phase primary leg reset point, and then also it's the primary leg pro trend reset point. So I'm going to explain that now. I've covered the shorts and why they're not, or there wasn't any valid opportunities. So now what I'm going to do is cover the longs. So in terms of covering the longs, because this is a primary leg and this primary leg is solely built on the 15-minute and there's no 4H OBs to validate because we haven't had a 4H jock to validate a proton OB. As you can see, this jock level wasn't wicked, so we can't validate the OB, which means we don't have an area on the 4-hour like we did for the pullback phase where we could validate that demand was in control, which then leaves us to finding unmitigated OBs in this primary leg. Remember, this primary leg is validated by a change of character which happens right around here on the 15-minute, and then we've got a primary leg, and on the 5-minute it would have been somewhere around here, and we've built that primary leg. However, both on the 15-minute and the 5-minute, you can go look on the 5-minute if you'd like, you can see everything's been perfectly mitigated, leaving no unmitigated levels, and thus we don't know what this is reacting from. So even if demand were to hold here, it's not backed by anything, and because it's not backed, we don't anticipate it to reach the target. And you can see that is exactly what happened. The shorts did in fact play out. It didn't give us a nice area to enter from, which is fine, but yeah. So in terms of trying to get in long for the day, we actually just needed price to come lower than the primary leg of this to then reset the primary leg, because once we weak this, then we can build a new primary leg and sort of cross this one out as it's no longer relevant, and we build a new primary leg and we can trade from there. However, what you can then see is when there was the news release at 5 or just before that, no, actually when the news was released, we then had these wicks, which then created a New York low of the day. What the New York low of the day essentially tells us is that the daily direction is more likely than not to close bearish. Given this fact and the mixed news results, it wasn't really high probability to then, you know, start looking for shorts or longs for that matter. Yeah, well, in terms of shorts, nothing built, and then when this got wicked, I guess we could say, because it was wicked and not body broken, so we initially had this low of the day, and then we had the New York low of the day, which is wicked and not body broken. So we could say, okay, if we build some order flow from here, we can still regard it as London low of the day, which is not ideal, but because we didn't body break, we can assume it's just a liquidity grab. But as you can see, there was no evidence of demand holding, which then brought us to the end of the day. And given the small range and just the way price is reacting in the mixed news, which doesn't really back a long trade idea, it's best to just not trade for the rest of the day. And yeah, that brings me to the conclusion of the end of day review for today, the 5th of December. And I will chat to you tomorrow for the London outlook.